Gears of War 5 review / information for the devs to help the game get better. This is aimed at the community and the coalition. It's important when listening to a review to know who the person is doing that review so you can help form your opinion based off his opinion. I am a 2006 player. I have scrimmed, played competitively, attended LANs. I have reviewed gameplay footage and created tips and tricks since basically 2008. I have spoke in podcasts to developers. I have spoke about skins, whether it's right or wrong. I've done showcases. I've talked about info and classes, and I've been doing this for a long time. This video isn't something off the cuff. I've been talking about title updates. I have been talking about should the boom shot be changed, sword offs, lancers, all this kind of stuff is something I've been doing since basically the dawn of time. And I've been doing latest patch news roundups, way to time weapons, all kinds of tutorials and guides for Gears of War, podcasts, meta discussions, and I don't know many people on this earth that have been doing this. You know, there are some new content creators, there are some older montage players, but I was one of the first that really began to talk about news and patch notes and balance. And when I see a game that is fundamentally broken at launch and has many broken features, I am incredibly disappointed.
Yeah, why are you on my server?
Be fair, honest, and not rude to the developers. They obviously try their best. I'm just going to try point you in the right direction.
Dude, it's so fucking bad, it's not even funny. Like, I don't even know what I'm playing.
And I was going to save this little montage to last, but I have to show it for the people that are just going to probably click off the video. You need to see this. The flashbang in this game has literally given every single person I've spoke to on Discord or chatted to through my stream headaches from playing. Every single game you play, you are able to spawn with a flashbang, and this is what your multiplayer experience is going to mostly look like.
Fucking sweating.
Okay. Ah, someone's behind me, I can hear him.
Right! There's just no...
Like I said, I'm not just doing this to bash the game. I'm not just doing it to get some views or anything like that. This is something I have always done, and I'm going to continue doing it. Disappointed. I load in to see a complete lack of characters, and I grew up in an era where you could unlock them through the campaign. I load in today, and previously where I, in 2011, would review Ram Shadow DLC with 50,000 views in 2011, talking about is it good, is it bad, what is it all about. I now am greeted with Gears of War 5, where I am not even able to play on my own server. The first 5 days of the Gears of War launch were broken and the campaign didn't work for me. Checkpoints weren't saved and the game was incredibly laggy. Every single player has more than 120 ping in this lobby, and it's completely unacceptable in 2020 that a game of this magnitude is not only launched and broken, but continually broken. I have tweeted for 1 whole week. I have spoken Discord, I have tweeted, I have made Reddit posts, and for an entire week at launch and another week, the EU servers have been down. I have been unable to play ranked gameplay, and that is just not fair and not acceptable to at least not even communicate the problem. Tell me what the problem is. Your communication has to improve. I grew up when $9.99 got me 6 characters, a chocolate weapon set, and a 3-hour-plus long campaign designed by the developers. Today, I am greeted with a Gears of War 5 that seems like Fortnite Mark II. I see iron for sale. I locked behind these boxes. I see a battle pass style system and a skin style system that is incredibly expensive, locked inside it in a full retail game. £8.50 for a skin, £8.50 for a blood spray that lasts 3 seconds. And previous executions where you'd get excited, Gears of War 2 would launch and you'd look at all the cool new executions, are now sold. A Boltok execution costs £8, but you can't even spend £8 because you have to spend the £10 on the actual Iron 1000 pack. Flags are for sale. I can buy an actual 5-foot flag for £2 off Amazon, but a virtual flag in Gears of War 5, again, cost me £8. The shop is absolutely ludicrous, and the reason it's ludicrous is because there are not enough unlocks in the game. Previous games you could unlock characters, skins for doing different missions and regular stuff. Nowadays, if you haven't pre-ordered the game, if you haven't done this random set of challenges, you don't get anything. A Terminator is now featured in Gears of War, a skin so broken that even in this picture where it is downed, you cannot really see it. There is an inherent advantage to this skin and almost pay to win. Now, when I load into the game and I see 8 playable COG characters with 3 locked behind the Ultimate Edition pre-purchase, I am basically deeply saddened that the roster doesn't even include original characters, and even characters that I've seen in the campaign fully fleshed out and animated are not available to play as. Instead, what we have is a Tour of Duty system. A Tour of Duty system is effectively for each rank you go up, you get a reward. Each rank you go up increases the amount of stars you need to get to rank up. What this means is, as you get higher and higher in rank, you need to do more and more awkward challenges. Already, people have started releasing guides on how to get cryo kills, where is the best spot to farm. This is not Borderlands. This is not Path of Exile. I'm not signing into a shooter to grind. I don't mind the odd unlock, but when everything is a timed unlock and flags and everything is so expensive and the online system doesn't even work, to expect me to pay £10 for a character, honestly, no offense, is absolutely disgusting. You get one reroll of your daily missions, so often you have to sign in and play something you do not want to play. Yesterday I had to kill a boss in Horde, and I had to do executions, which really have no place in multiplayer, which is something I play. You don't really execute somebody, you're just going to end up getting yourself killed if you do that. So people start to re-roll and pay iron to get better challenges and rank up quicker, which is, I guess, everything you wanted. However, for me, it's absolutely awful. I have to kill 300 people with a pistol I'm never going to use to get a broken dirt shotgun skin. And again, the characters are timed, meaning if you do not complete this Tour of Duty in 3 months, they are gone forever. Meaning a kid that just bought the game at Christmas will not have a chance to earn any of these unlocks or characters because they are gone forever. Some skins are available for scrap, however they cost 2,300 scrap, and that currently at my rate of playing, who is diamond and wins almost every single game, I have played 48 hours and I have earned half the scrap needed, meaning I need to play for 100 hours to unlock a gold gun. It is flat out ridiculous, wrong, and it needs changing. Now the campaign I'll touch on just quickly. I'm not going to spoil anything. Playing through it, it's okay. It's an okay campaign. It's got a bit of story. It's got a bit of background. For me, it tries to put too much emotion into the game, whereas emotion naturally happened in previous titles. I feel this is a little bit forced. It doesn't feel as dark and gritty as previous games. There are its advantages. It does have a small open world area with side quests. It visually does look very, very good, especially on PC. And I will give it its dues. Everybody seems to enjoy it, which means you've done something very good. However, I pre-purchased this game because of the 3-player co-op, which wasn't in Gears of War 4. 3-player co-op in this game, you have to play as Jack. Now, playing as Jack can be okay if you play on the easier difficulties, but it runs into this issue where on the easier difficulties, you don't really need Jack apart from where it's forced, which means we have spent our time effectively being ammo skivvies and flying ammo around for people that are doing more important jobs. And I understand that maybe you wanted to include the robot in the campaign, but I feel like the campaign works and it's good, but on the higher difficulties, especially Insane, there's something definitely broken. Everything one-shots you. It feels more like you've got lucky AI RNG when you complete the actual chapter rather than skill. And again, because Jack is so unbelievably weak, he effectively has to hide, which means one of your friends, which is playing co-op with you, is basically useless and is just a spectator, which is never fun. I think there are better ways to make a game more difficult than simply raising the health and damage of the enemies. I think smarter AI or more waves of more difficult AI would be better. Rather than make the wretch one shot, why not throw more weaker wretches at me and overwhelm me, make me aim harder or better? I think just increasing the damage values and HP of an enemy just makes it a very unfun experience to play. Now, multiplayer does include a few other sort of co-op style things. There is a new game mode called Escape. Now, Escape is effectively I won't say randomly generated hive, but a sort of generated map with different layouts. You get thrown in at the deep end with your friends or on your own, and you have to escape the area. Each character has classes. The more you play, the stronger your class ranks up, which allows you to do stronger difficulties. And there is a reason to grind here, because grinding allows you to do harder content, which makes the game more fun. I'm completely okay with this. I think Escape is fine. It's a very enjoyable game mode, and it's definitely new, and it's got that gritty Gears twist to it. I'm completely fine and happy that this is in the game. It gives players that might hate multiplayer an opportunity to group up with friends and do something a little bit different that isn't Horde and that isn't campaign. So it's an option there for people, and options are good in games. Similarly, people that aren't really interested in multiplayer might find themselves playing Horde. I recently did 1 to 50 on Horde, and I did enjoy it. Horde is something that is really not something I have ever really got into, but I think Horde works very, very well. However, the only issue I've ran into is that to do the harder difficulties, you really need to have higher ranked up soldiers and classes, which means that you have to play Horde over and over and over again until you get the character you want to be the highest rank. For example, if you play only Kate, your Caitlyn will be high rank, but your other characters won't, and you won't be able to take them into the higher difficulties, which again increases the grind. This is okay because I know a lot of players enjoy Horde, but for me I didn't really enjoy that aspect of the game, and the class-based systems mean that effectively sometimes you have to rely on your team to do stuff such as upgrade barriers and deposit juice into the fabricator. And the class system I don't really feel like is needed. I think all the characters should be able to do everything, and it would be a lot smoother experience, especially when grouping up online with other people, because sometimes, yes, some players do absolutely suck, and you're stuck hoping they'll know how to play their class, otherwise you can't progress. So overall, there's a lot of content in the game. The shop absolutely sucks. The absolute lack of unlocks creates a very boring environment, and if that's worked on, we can actually get somewhere. However, we have to talk about the multiplayer. The multiplayer for me is the key aspect, and we're going to jump right into it. I am a player that has played multiplayer since the start of the franchise. I am, I guess, what you would refer to as a hardcore player, but I like to think I can understand all people's positions in the game, from complete beginners to absolute top-end professional players, and I can give a fairly well-rounded, balanced opinion on what I feel is right and wrong with the franchise. This is something I have been doing. In 2012, I used to Skype Pete Nubb. I used to talk to Pete Nubb over Twitter, DM him. He often would say that the office had sat and watched my video and worked on the glitches and issues and taken a lot of feedback on board. In Gears of War 1, it was Lee Perry. And I've always been giving my feedback about the game, and it's always been taken on board. So I'm going to continue doing that. Now, I do understand talking about balance in Gears of War is like the most controversial thing you can do in Gears of War, because everyone has their idea of how it should be played. The community is always split between the Lancer and the Gnasher. You as developers would know that better than anybody. However, I just would like to give my viewpoint on what I feel the game should be like and how it should be played, but also give you some sort of examples and rationale behind my thinking, so I'm not just shouting at you and you can understand what's going on. I'd like to state that for this video, I am talking specifically about the ranked aspect of play. There are new game modes in this Gears of War 5, if you were not familiar, called Arcade and Quick Play. And these give basically new features to the game, such as going on a kill streak allows you to spawn in a sniper, a grenade, a breaker mace, and the characters have different classes. There are no shotguns at spawn, there is aim assist, there are no weapons on the map. You can just purchase them and buy them in-game with your kill streaks effectively. And for a lot of players, they have really enjoyed this casual game mode. I am all for putting silly weapons in arcade mode, different types of stuff to entice new people in and give them a sense of what Gears of War is like. But for the ranked gameplay, there has to be something for the OG players that have supported and played this game for a long time. It feels like with your need and desire to get Call of Duty / Battlefield-esque players into the franchise, you have completely forgotten who made the franchise popular in the first place, and that's the original fans that were more than willing to do a bit of Team Lancer in in-game battles or GB, but primarily loved Gears of War for the close quarters action and map control needed around the arena style, CSGO style gameplay, where it was all about controlling power weapons, map control, clutches, and defending small pockets with explosive close quarters action. If you want to add rifles and strong rifles and crazy explosive RPG style lancers into the game, they are absolutely fine in arcade mode, but there needs to be a separation between casual play and ranked play. A much bigger separation than that we are currently seeing. First of all, I'd like to talk about aim assist. There is aim assist in casual play, and there is aim assist in ranked play. I don't feel like aim assist should have any place in ranked play. With the new arcade mode, with more casual play, there is more than enough casual game modes and for fun modes that ranked can remain as a pure Gears of War experience. I think the type of person that absolutely loves casual arcade and team deathmatch and gun race isn't going to be the type of person that enjoys playing for ranked anyway. So trying to entice them in with aim assist and putting in broken weapons doesn't really fit well with me. There has to be a separation, and aim assist has absolutely no place in ranked. This is the first thing that needs to go. For one, there is a large issue where sometimes aim assist gives you headshots that aren't really headshots. Sometimes it drags your cursor away from kills that should have been kills. Mix that with lag, which we've already spoken about, and incredibly poor, I guess you would say, server-side connections that quite often kills that happen on your screen are not happening on the other person's screen. People can take point blanks. People can gib you from a range which is seemingly not possible because on their screen they are closer, they are in a different place, they are in a different position on the map. And in ranked, the mixture of lag and aim assist and bullet magnetism has absolutely ruined the quality of game. Even for me, when I win, I'm starting to think, did I even land that headshot or was it aim assist? And that has no place in competitive play. Aim assist absolutely has to go, and we can't really talk about bullet magnetism, issues such as bad hitboxes without removing aim assist, because maybe these problems go away. Let's take things back and let's strip it back 1 point at a time. Let's remove aim assist and let's see how the game plays out. If people are still basically able to shoot and miss and kill people, then there's another issue. Is it server-wide? Is it that people are being displayed on their screen incorrectly? A reason I suggest this is because the EU servers have been down for 2 weeks, and as a result, I have only been playing on American connections. I have been playing on 120 to 160 ping, depending on the place of the game. In these games where I am 160 ping, the person on my screen and the place they are in on my screen is actually where they are, which worries me. If I am on 160 ping and a player is just pushing the corner and that player that is pushing the corner is on 20 ping, then what happens on their screen at 20 ping should be realistic what is happening in the game. However, it feels like as long as if you see it on your screen, That is actually what is happening. So in these American games, even though I was on 150 ping, I was able to play like I almost wasn't lagging, which was very, very odd. And that to me highlights an issue. A 150 ping player should not be seeing what a 20 ping player is seeing. Whether this is lag compensation or whatever system is built into the game, the quality of overall play has just dropped significantly, and from Gears 1 to all the way to Gears 5, I feel there's been a slow degrading of quality in exactly what is going on my screen. It used to be in Gears of War 1 that if you were lagging, your bullets lagged, but everybody was where they were, so you had to lead your shots. Nowadays, when I play on 150 ping, it actually feels pretty damn good. So there is definitely something strange going on. The mixture of aim assist, bullet magnetism, lag, and server side that is just simply not right, and it doesn't have any place in ranked, and it absolutely needs to be fixed before anything. Before we even talk about balance, gun placement, maps, map designs, there's no point talking about any of this until the game works functionally. So we've touched on the lag, aim assist, bullet magnetism, server side issues that have to be fixed. Once those are fixed, we can start looking at the weapons itself. Now, the key weapon I want to talk about is indeed the Lancer and the shotgun, because I actually think that both guns are broken right now and too strong. That's right, I'm not just saying that the Lancer is overpowered, the shotgun is overpowered as well. Now, people are going to listen to that and think, oh no, he's one of these guys that hates the shotgun. Completely wrong. Let me explain. If you've ever heard of the term power creep in a game, this is basically how strength of weapons, gear and stuff creeps up and gets stronger and stronger until you reach this limit of it becomes an issue. We've reached a point in Gears of War 5 where the Lancer is incredibly strong. I think we can all agree. It has borderline hit scan. You can't really miss with it. It's very easy to fire and control. There's very little recoil. You can kill somebody across the map and deal full damage. There's no fall off damage, which makes it an incredibly strong, not only killing weapon at close due to its stopping power and its rate of fire and its accuracy, but also an incredible support weapon that you can seemingly tap anybody across the map and get assists, eliminations, kills, downs with very little effort. Now, put this in the hands of 5 capable players and put this in the hands of a team that knows how to set up, you are very, very rarely going to do anything against a well-coordinated. Now, when we talk about power creep, what has happened over time is because of the strength of these rifles, other guns need to be as strong to compete. So, what has happened is we are now in a situation where the Lancer is so unbelievably strong that for shotgun players to even have any remote amount of joy without pulling out their own Lancer, it has to have a very long range. All my shotgun fights now are 2-shot downs, pretty much. If you go into close range, you're pretty much just gambling on the gib range, which we can talk about in a second, but most of the fights are just going to be hard aim 2-shot downs with a shotgun. This is not the Gears of War gameplay I grew up loving, and I don't think as well it's the game that people are going to stick with. It's fun for the odd evening to play a little bit of Gears of War 5, but it doesn't give me that exhilarating feeling of a huge outplay with the shotgun and the movement, because there really isn't much to it. It's been dumbed down, frankly, and it feels like all of the movement and stuff I have practiced over the years and learnt has been thrown out of the window due to a few things. Slower movement in Gears of War 5 in general, stronger rifles, taller, more aerial, Lancery style maps, and a shotgun that is a 2-shot down cannon is just meaning that my shotgun fights aren't all about making somebody strafe and dodge and miss or land 4 shots. It's gone from moving around the map with sick movement, strafing, mixing in loco turns, turn and shoots, roadie run strafe, wall bounce strafe, all different kinds of tools that you had in your arsenal that you'd practiced over the years to effectively one thing. You don't really push somebody unless you're going in for a one-shot. And if you're not going in for the one-shot, you just sort of keep your distance and hard aim somebody down in 2 single shots. And that is the game. It's not fun. Even as a person that loves the shotgun, I don't enjoy two-shotting people down. But that's what it's become. And I understand the reason why it's become that. It's become a two-shot down game because the Lancer's so strong. Because the Lancer is so strong, for me to be able to compete and have any joy, my shotgun needs to deal some sort of damage at distance, because you can't always get point blank up close. Sometimes you have to fire off 2 shots, and if those 2 shots are ineffective, there's going to be even more Lancering. So we've entered into this power creep state where the shotgun needs to be a 2-shot down cannon, which completely negates fun fights, and it's got this really strange gib range that frustrates people. There are situations where you can deal 99 and he can deal 100. And that's because we've got in this daft situation where the shotgun is either a 2-shot down or a 1-shot from an odd range. And if you slightly misjudge that range, whether you misjudged it because the person was further away than you thought due to server lag, or closer, or in a different position, if you slightly misjudge the 1-shot range, you get 98 damage to 99, and then you are 1 shot back, and it creates a very frustrating experience. In Gears of War 1, the gun basically had to be in your chest to be a 1-shot kill. Before Escalation had its elimination limit added, there were scrims and competitive plays that were going on for hours because people could simply Lancer. In Gears of War 5, it's even stronger than in Gears of War 4. And you mix that with high sort of elevation in maps, easy crossing spots. The game sort of holds your hand and tells you, climb up here and cross them. And there's very little you can do as a solo player to stop a single player or multiple players Lancering. They are a very, very strong, potent threat. Now, people will be very happy. I've seen many posts saying that I am very pleased that Gears of War is no longer a one-gun game. Let me tell you, Gears of War has never been a one-gun game. Since playing on LAN, playing competitive scrims and stuff since Gears of War 1, Host Lancer, and Pistol in general was some of the most used weapons in the game, and a cross such as Clock Tower could completely nullify your ability to push. You were working as a squad to hold down an area with a Lancer in Gears of War 1, and you couldn't really support somebody across the map because of high kick, quite interesting rate of fire. There was a small amount of lag as well, / leading you had to do on the bullet. And you factor all this in, and the Gears of War 1 Lancer was very, very strong. In fact, and this is an actual fact, the Lancer in Gears of War 1 has the fastest time to down somebody out of every Lancer in Gears of War 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. However, you never fully got to utilise that time to down due to things like quicker rate of movement on players, higher strafe speed, no stopping power, maps with better cover / less high elevation spots for crossing. And it meant that the Lancer was a pure support weapon. And once you got out of that support range, it was time to shotgun battle. Again, people could Lancer, people did Lancer in competitive play. It's just that most people playing the game these days never grew up playing Gears of War 1. And they basically think that the game is all about shotguns, and everybody that talks about the Lancer being overpowered actively hates the Lancer. It's not about hating the Lancer. The Lancer is actually fine. Like I say, we've used it many, many times. The problem is the ease of use, the strength, the mobility hindrance it gives you, and the complete anti-push it gives you. You are very, very hard. It's very, very hard to make any push against a semi-competent team of random players online, let alone an actual good team, let alone a team that has practiced crossing. It's very difficult, and it's created a very frustrating game for me that as a solo player I'm running head on into Lancer fire most of the time, and my only tool to break that crossing lancer is a flashbang, which was shown in the beginning of this video. The flashbang is incredibly obnoxious and broken and needs nerfing. Now, when we talk about the flash needing nerfing, we also need to talk about the smoke grenade, because that's the alternate choice. Now, the smoke grenade is a good idea, and actually it's quite useful on King of the Hill, and in some maps I actually favour the smoke over the flashbang. But the issue with the smoke grenade is that because it doesn't stun like the flashbang, which it should not stun, because it doesn't stun and because it doesn't sort of disorientate the enemy enough, it's not picked up enough. Partly I think the reason for this is the smoke grenade can be negated via spotting. Once you've spotted somebody and you go into smoke, you can just shoot where somebody's mark is. I would immediately, once you go into smoke, remove my spot. I think that could be a nice buff to the smoke grenade. And also, if you are shooting in smoke, you should not receive hit markers. Hit markers just allow me to track an enemy through smoke, and it's effectively like the smoke isn't there. So most of the time it's better just to use a flashbang. Now, getting back onto the Lancers, you can't really talk about the strength of the Lancer without talking about the maps. There is a complete lack of maps in this game. There are many, many brilliant environments in the campaign, which would make wonderful maps. But we seem to be stuck with the stale same 4 or 5 maps that get played. There is just simply not enough maps in the game, and there needs to be more to make it a more fun experience. Better design maps, less training ground, less high crossing maps, and more interesting maps to promote close quarters gameplay. As well as that, the 2-shot down was a rare occurrence, and you were quite shocked. You're like, oh, I've just 2-shot down that guy, we can push. Most of the time it would be 3 to 4 shots. Mixing fast movement and dodging, you suddenly were regenning whilst fighting. You might take 3 shots, bounce, strafe, make him miss 2 shots, regen. He might have to shoot another 3 shots now and land another 3 shots. And it gave you an opportunity to outplay that person and feel like the months and years of practice you'd put into the game were meaningful, and you, through your movement and your skill and knowledge of cover and how to move around the map, really affected the game. And you could embarrass people. You could make people miss, you could dance around them, make them miss all their bullets, and then just kill them, sprint into melee range and kill them. I think that's what people got frustrated about when they first played Gears of War 1, is they felt like it was a shotgun-only game, but it wasn't. It was just that people absolutely loved styling on other people with the shotgun. We could have Lancered. The Lancer was strong enough to use. We didn't mess with that unless it was competitive. Nowadays, you are Lancered down, your movement is hindered, and your only tool to fight back is a 1-shot or a 2-shot down shotgun. The fights have gone, and for me the excitement's gone. We've spoke about how stronger rifles means stronger shotguns, right? Now, think of this. With stronger rifles and stronger shotguns, suddenly power weapons need to be even stronger to be worth picking up. If you can deal crazy amounts of damage and slay multiple enemies with a Lancer and a shotgun, why would you risk death over a weaker power weapon? Well, you wouldn't, would you? So now we have situations where a mulcher can be carried around and shot without even planting it for accuracy. We have Boltocs that can down you across the map instantly and headshot you almost instantly. We have drop shots that have 3 bullets. We have Lancer GLs that have 3 effective across the map rockets in them. It then transforms into a Lancer which deals more damage than the other Lancer and has an insane rate of fire with an active, and can be used to slay tens of enemies with the amount of ammo it has. And that's the situation we're in. Because of the power of the Lancer and shotgun, power weapons are having to become even more powerful to be worth picking up. And now we're in a situation where everything is so strong that your only play is to play defensively. And now we're in this situation of whack-a-mole that you see so much on, say, a map like Icebound, where everybody is just lancering. And it is just simply not the game I grew up enjoying. I was planning on making this video a lot longer and a lot more detail. I was going to talk about the elevation of the maps, the multitude of crossing angles, the lack of sort of fake cover. In Gears of War 1, sometimes you were able to be shot, but this invisible lip/cover on your back would stop you being crossed. There were certain safety points, even from height advantage, where you were safe. Somebody might be above you, but they couldn't actually shoot your back. In this game, you can be crossed from anywhere and everywhere, and it's incredibly suppressing. It's incredibly oppressive to play in. And if you try to play aggressively, you're just asking for trouble. Now, it can be done. Big plays can be made. Good players can always make big plays. However, the core gameplay has transcended from incredibly long, drawn out, excellent sort of mixture of movement, aiming and skill shotgun fights to this basically binary / system of O's and ones. You're in range, one shot. You're not in range, you don't do any damage. You're in range, 2 shot down. He's not in gib range, he does no damage. And the game has transcended into this campy style of rifle from a distance, occasionally get up close and pray you've missed and pray you've judged the gib range correctly, or play it safe and 2 shot somebody down. And it's not the game I think people want. There are a few people that will love the fact you can sit on ice, you can sit up in the top of a map and lancer down 10 people and then take out your shotgun to somebody that pushes and 2 shot down them. But to me, that's not what it's about. Gears of War for me was like the game you practiced and practiced and practiced, a bit like Counter-Strike. And then you went into a ranked game and you showed off how good you are. You were like, look at my movement, mate. Look at my strafe. Look at my reading of the game. I know where you're going to move, so I'm going to move in the opposite place. These days, that doesn't go on. Very, very rarely you actually outplay somebody with a shotgun. Most of the time, you steam in and one-shot them, or you land 2 shots. And again, you hear me saying 1 shot, 2 shot. And I've been talking about this since Gears of War 3, since Gears of War 2. The longer range you make the shotgun, the more awful it is. The stronger the rifles are, the more awful it is. And it just creates this whole chaos and mess that everything's so strong that nothing's really working. And that perfect balance of Gears of War 1 Lancer and shotgun has completely gone out of the window for me. This isn't a game that is enjoyable for long periods of time. I can go on it and find small pockets of joy, because it's still Gears of War, but it's not the game that absolutely gets me exhilarated and makes me want to sit and practice for hours and hours to get better. I feel like there's basically a skill cap in this game already where it's just very, very boring to play. And I don't want to shit on the game. I actually like the game and I want to make it better, right? I'm sat here editing all these videos and putting all these clips together to help improve the game. And ultimately, I'll still read at the end of this video, oh, this guy just wants the game to be a shotgun game, and he's completely missed the point of what I'm trying to say. I'd love Lancer support fire, crossing, all this type of stuff is clever, but in Gears of War 5 it's not clever, it's obvious. The game holds your hand and says, stand here, these are good crossing angles, this gun is very strong, and it's just not. There's not much skill, there's not much enjoyment, and for me Gears of War 5 is not a great game, sadly. I hope it improves, but I'm worried because the direction we've headed in is so much power creep and so much chaos that there are like 10 power weapons on every map, and I don't know where you're going to rein it back, or if you're going to rein it back, because right now it's mental really. It's not clean, crisp Counter-Strike / execution style gameplay. And just to end on a note as well, the reason execution isn't played as much is because of all this power creep. There's so many opportunities to be insta-downed or 2 shot downed or, killed, and so little chance for actual outplay that having one single life isn't enough. Unfortunately, you have to play something like King of the Hill to get enough opportunities to do something that you find fun, like an outplay or something. And I think that's the problem we've ran into. Too much has changed from previous older Gears of War that a older veteran / fan of the series doesn't really like the game anymore, but there hasn't been enough change from Gears of War 1 to Gears of War 5 to get somebody that previously hated the franchise and make them a fan. So we're left in limbo where older fans are getting sick of the gameplay we're seeing, and previous fans that hated the game aren't seeing enough change for them to pick up the game, and we're left in this limbo of mediocre gameplay, in my opinion. And I hope it improves, I hope it does, but I had to just put my voice out there and speak on some things that really frustrate me, and I do it because I enjoy the franchise. I don't do it just to shit on developers or, argue for arguing's sake. I don't do that. So, if anybody has made it to the end of this video, I very much applaud you and appreciate you making it this far. These videos take a long time to make, collate my thoughts, get footage, and actually play the game for a decent length of time. Many reviewers, big YouTubers, just instantly get the game, make a review on day one, and then 3 weeks later you'll find them backpedaling, saying actually the game's pretty bad, blah blah blah. I would rather just do one review, give myself time to play, complete all the modes, complete the campaign, play all the modes and see what happens, and then formulate an opinion. This takes time. If anybody has enjoyed the content, please feel free to subscribe, like, comment, help the algorithm, share it if you agree with the review, or you disagree and you want someone else's opinion, feel free to share it. If you want to go a step further, there are links in the description to support me financially through just a simple Twitch sub from Twitch Prime, or a donation through Streamlabs. Just donate a coffee, wake me up in the morning with a nice iced coffee. Whatever you want to do, it helps me stay motivated to make content through your, feedback and retention. So if you've enjoyed it, please subscribe, like, comment, support, and I'll be sure to keep making content and not rushing them out like shitty IGN.